So we're going to talk about Hard Eyes with our friend Brent. Hard Eyes is a romantic comedy slasher directed by Josh Rubin. The story follows Allie, played by Olivia Holt, a marketing executive with commitment issues, and Jay, played by Mason Gooding, a charming consultant. Their budding relationship is threatened by the Hard Eyes Killer, a serial murderer targeting couples on Valentine's Day. So, what do you think of Hard Eyes, Brent?
I mean, I really think it knocked it out of the park. It was honestly, I'm not a huge fan of horror comedies. And I think going into this, reading a few things about it online and not knowing it was going to be a straight horror movie, I was able to set my expectations when I sat down, and I wasn't expecting something that was just straight slasher. I was expecting something that was more of a romantic comedy with slasher elements. I think going into it like that, I enjoyed it way more than I would have if I'd been blindsided. Taking it as a movie that is sort of a play on like a My Best Friend's Wedding or How to Lose a Guy and, whatever that was, How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days, or any other romantic comedy as a spin on that, but with like a horror aspect, I think it was incredibly successful. But I don't think it would be as successful if the two leads had bad chemistry. And I think Olivia and Mason just like were fire up on that screen. Like I thought they were so cute together, and yeah, I thought they were so cute, and I wanted them to like make it through this night. And I think it had been maybe some other actors or think a less plot for them at least, I think that the movie would have like flopped hard for me. So I think going into it, thinking of it as a romantic comedy with like the fun slasher element on the side, it was almost kind of like it. Even though the movie's about that, it was kind of like it was an afterthought to the central like romantic comedy, kind of almost like a spoof at the heart of the movie. I liked it. I dug it.
Okay. Yeah, I let's talk about the actors real quick. I don't think I've seen Olivia Holt in anything before.
Such a cute face.
Yeah, I didn't recognize her really at all.
I thought she did okay. And then that Mason Gooding, who I just found out is Cuba Gooding Jr.'s son, just like recently. He was in the.
I mean, it makes sense. You can kind of see it in his face. Yeah.
Yeah. I thought he was really good in it. He was. I've only seen him in the Scream movies, those recent Scream sequels. I thought he did pretty good.
He's super charismatic.
Mm-hmm.
Olivia Holt, I thought she was just going to be like another blonde girl, like just like looking at her picture, like in the poster or like in seeing the trailers. I'm like, oh, this is just another generic girl. And I thought she was like super cute and had lots of personality. And I thought she was like, whenever there were jokes, like she hit them. So yeah, I liked her.
What do you think of the movie?
Let's talk about the actors. I mean, I like the actors because they were just very easy on the eye, right? Like she's very cute, and she's like kind of my type of blonde girls. And I mean, he is very handsome. I mean, there's not much to say about him. Like he is just kind of.
Yeah, they're both kind of smoke shows. Yeah.
I mean, it kind of even start off as like the romantic element, right? And honestly, I could see them just in a romantic movie, and like
just a regular romantic comedy without the slasher element.
Yes.
Yeah, let's talk about like the tone of it. Like you said, like you sat down next to me and you're basically saying, the reviews I've read is basically this is basically a romantic comedy with some slasher stuff in it, and that was pretty apt description of the movie, I think, for better and worse. Before I like go into that, but that first part that I was kind of sold on it. That first scene where they're capturing the moment, but it's actually them posing at having to retake the engagement pictures and stuff, and it was like bloody, and I love the look of the movie, how it's just so bright, and then he's chasing her through like the orchard, and it's like kind of foggy and everything. I loved that first part of that movie. I just don't think it kept up to that standard for me.
That's probably the most gruesome kill in the movie too.
Yeah.
Oh, I covered my eyes at first, so I know how that girl died, but I didn't see the thing. But they, at the end or something, at the later part of the movie, it popped back, and I saw her like eyeballs popped out, and I'm like, I wasn't ready for this.
Yeah. I was at first I was like, is this actually My Bloody Valentine 3D? Because I felt like they just projectiled like right towards me.
I think my main gripe is like they had that great opening, and basically it reverts back to a romantic comedy for like a half an hour. Did you notice that? Like it was just like full on romantic comedy for a half an hour, and then you would see like like these news pop up on TVs in the background about the killer and everything. But I think for me, it didn't really capture that balance very well. Like with the romantic comedy parts of it, they sort of like the movie just kind of went to a screeching halt and it's like, okay, where's the slasher part of this now? Kind of like when I was just saying, like that 30 minutes of a romantic comedy until he like pops out of a closet.
Mm-hmm.
And then another one was when they run into the drive-in into that van where those people are like banging or whatever, and they're having this like heartfelt conversation, even though there's a fucking killer stalking them. Yeah. And it just like stopped there for like a good like 5 minutes of them like talking and giving backstory and why they feel the way they do, But
it's so funny because all of that worked for me.
Okay,
like it was sort of kind of like it was sort of kind of like they wrote it as like these two people didn't realize they were in a scary movie, and I felt that really worked. Yeah, it really worked. I don't know. I just found it pretty charming. And then like when we did have the horror stuff, it was like pretty gruesome and it was really gory. And I don't know. I liked it. I dug it.
Yeah, it was like a pacing issue for me.
I think the elements are good for me. Like if you look at separately, right? Like the romantic part are very cute and charming and adorable, and the kills are actually like really, I think, really hit the spot for you guys. Obviously, because it's kind of gory.
But I did see you cover your eyes a few times with your jacket.
Oh yeah, I used your jacket. I'm like, I know this girl gonna die this way, but I don't need to see it. But like, I feel like it's how they mix it together. I guess it didn't really blend in, but it's more like, just a block and a block and a block. That's probably what you were talking about the pace.
Yeah, it's like, okay, let's do the romantic comedy. Okay, let's do the slasher part. Okay, back to romantic comedy.
I actually didn't really think it was gonna be much of a romantic comedy. So, because like in the trailer, wasn't it mostly like the killer doing the horrible stuff in the trailer. So I thought it was just gonna be like killing. I thought we were there for the kills. And then there was
maybe a bit of bait and switch, maybe just slightly.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting it to be a full-on romantic comedy with a slasher in it, but I mean, I'm all for it, even though I'm like not like a romantic comedy guy. But yeah, I think another gripe I had with it. Okay, so they had like these side characters, right? They introduced in like the first part of the movie. She's got the boss, and I thought the boss was pretty funny. Her
she
boss
was great. Her name's Michaela Watkins.
Okay, Michaela Watkins, the boss.
Yeah, she was in a great show years and years ago called Trophy Wife, which was pretty hilarious. And it's one of those shows that people talk about that, it only lasted one season and like, it just didn't last long enough because it didn't have an audience. And she was really great in that as well. So when I saw her, I was like, it warmed my heart a little bit to see her in like something. And she was going so over the top in it.
I mean, I like the side characters and I thought she was pretty funny too. But then it's like they disappear for like the whole middle of the movie and then show up at the end again. Well, I mean, it's kind of like a slasher movie. You introduce a bunch of characters, and then they get picked off one by one. But it seemed like most of the kills were just like, if that makes sense, just like...
Yeah, no, it definitely makes sense. And I don't remember the name of her. Maybe it's Monica, her friend Monica.
But yeah.
Monica was really funny, and she was in that first section of the movie for a little while. And I thought at some point we were going to bring Monica back because her screen presence is just like she's super snappy and like she just every joke after joke after joke just hitting it, and you really like her. So I thought like maybe during the movie we were going to come back to her and she was going to be in peril, or like the killer was going to be after her and they were going to have to save her, or we really didn't see her except for like literally like the first 10 minutes of the movie and the last 3 minutes of the movie.
Yeah, exactly. That's another
point. I will say, I wonder if there's a version of the script somewhere as to where she has a bigger part, and like just maybe for time or budgetary constraints, maybe that got cut out. But I really think that they should have incorporated her character more.
Yeah, and I feel like they probably cut out some of the kills that they described on TV in that half an hour of romantic comedy at the beginning, because it just kept showing things. I'm like, why didn't we see this? Which I understand, because you don't want like an over 2 hour slasher movie. But yeah, those were just some of the gripes I had. But there was some stuff I did like I just liked Hard Eyes just going ham at the drive-in theater, just like you never really see that in a slasher. And they're always like sneaking around, getting someone in the woods by themselves. Just seeing someone just fucking just slash people with a machete, and it's kind of cathartic in a way to see that in a slasher movie for me. But yeah, it's like I wasn't really too impressed with many of the kills. Like the one at the beginning was awesome, and then the one that they give away in the teaser trailer. But other than that, yeah. But going back to like things I did like, I mean, the effects and gore and everything, and just like the look of the Hard Eyes with the glowing eyes, especially when he's got the night vision.
They did a really good job.
I don't know how good that night vision is when your fucking eyes are lit up on the outside of the mask too, but it looks cool.
When they have like D strips that someone's controlling with a little remote behind the scenes. I've never seen neon pink night vision before. So
yeah, it's like what was that? Virtual Boy? I had a Virtual Boy. It just gave me a headache. I had it for a week.
I had one as well as a kid, and they had that warning at the beginning that would say you can only play this for like a certain amount of time, or if you're under this age, you shouldn't be playing this. But that was rough. Yes, it was just like a Virtual Boy. That's so stupid.
Leaves your eyes. Virtual Boy, see it now.
Wes and Penny, what did you think of my biggest criticism? I'd probably say my only criticism of the movie, and I'm able to overlook it because I had such a good time with the rest of it, was the killer reveal. I thought it was just bleh. Like, it could have been anyone. I mean, I had guessed. I even looked over to you at one point and I said, that one's going to be the killer. And it was just like some random one-off character. And
yeah.
I the IT guy looked odd.
It could have been anyone.
Yeah.
What'd you say?
I mean, yeah. I thought that was really disappointing. That whole like, they had the whole like thing at the drive-in. There's going to be another part to it, and it made it pretty obvious at the end who one of the killers was. And yeah, like you said, I kind of had that alert too. Like before you even said that. What I liked about that last part was like they did not. It was almost like a Terrifier level of gore.
Yeah, it was
in that last part of it. That was pretty awesome.
Gory. Yeah, the gore and stuff. But what I didn't like was, you can have a lame killer reveal if the whole movie's fun. Like it's just all what you do with it, because it's like it's exactly who you expect it to be, or the people you expect it to be. But they spend 5 minutes talking about the reason why they are the killer, and I'm like, okay, and like it wasn't like a strong enough reason. It just needed to be a little bit more. Like I needed to have a better reason than what they gave. I was just like, okay.
Yeah. That I would. That's another thing. Another hit for me. It was just like the reasoning behind it and who it was, and it wasn't very interesting, especially when they had like an extra guy, random dude. It's like they take the mask off. You've never seen this guy in the fucking movie.
I thought, and no, I've read a couple things when I got home because I want to see if anyone talked about it, and I'm probably 100% wrong about this. Spoiler alert. When they took that mask off of the kind of like the throwaway killer that when we thought everything was revealed and we thought they caught the killer, they unmask and it uncovers this one guy who we've never seen before. I thought that he was in the very beginning of the movie right after the main intro of the movie when we're going over all the news articles and the newscasts of the reporters and things. There was one reporter that was a guy, and he had a slightly longer little bit. Like there was like someone walking up to him outside. He's like, is being recorded. He has the microphone. I could have sworn that was the same reporter.
Okay.
It probably is not, but I could have sworn because when they revealed it, I was like, "That's the reporter," and then nothing ever came of it. And then I looked around to see if anyone else was like thinking it, and like, no.
I was just confused, but he was at a weird angle where he's like,
yeah, like,
yeah, it's like you saw like neck rolls and things that you wouldn't have like seen. So like maybe, yeah, I don't know. I would have chosen a different reason, a more interesting reason for a killer to be murdering all these people than what we have.
Yeah. So
I mean, at that point, I already didn't take this movie very seriously, so I was okay with them just doing a weird, dark thing like killing fantasy.
Yeah, I
like
think
the weird
the movie already was silly, and it knew it was silly. I don't know. I just found it was kind of bland.
It would have been a perfect movie for Brand if the last bit was
like contender for 2025 movie of the year for me.
Damn, we're just in February.
I'm actually not even going to see any other movies now. This is it. Once you reach the peak.
It's like everything's going to be disappointing to you from now on.
It's all downhill from now. The Monkey next week. It's going to be.
Damn. That's a shame. Poor Osgood Perkins. Yeah, I guess we'll just wrap it up and give your overall thoughts and rating.
All right, so out of 5 stars, I would rank this easily for me 4.
4? Okay. The way you were talking about it, I thought you were going to give it like 4.5 or 5.
I would say 4 because thinking back on it and thinking about some of those scenes, there was 1 or 2 scenes that I thought maybe could have been edited slightly tighter, and then the ending killer reveal brought it down to a 4. If that ending killer reveal had been better, it'd been a 4.5 for me.
Yeah, I get that. What about you?
I mean, this is probably a 3.5 out of 5 for me. It was still relatively entertaining, I think, for the kills. I think they did some really cool kills, and
that last kill was pretty sick, I thought.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Because I heard you make some weird sound over there. For real, I heard him laugh when the boss was talking, and I heard him like woo for the last kill. I heard.
Okay, I clapped.
Standing ovation in the theater.
Bravo.
My expectation wasn't super high, and I kind of expected a Scream type of movie. My complaint is the romantic part is a little bit long and slow for me because I'm a very impatient person, and I'm there for the exciting things.
You want to get to the killing, just get to it.
Yeah,
just get to the part where I have to cover my eyes and not watch the movie.
Or get to the part where I'm suffocated with Brent's jacket. Just go over
yes. If I had to do it like 10 times throughout the movie, I would have rated it higher. For me.
Okay, I'm gonna go right down the middle and just say 2.5. Like, there's things I liked about it. It wasn't like completely lost. I think it's pretty mediocre for what it is. Like, that first scene, I'm like, if it kept that pace in that tone and everything, I probably would have loved this movie because I was like really surprised of how awesome that opening was. But then it just kind of like went into the generic slasher stuff, and then it just took too long with the romantic comedy stuff. And especially the ending. Like even you had a problem with the ending, with the killers and their motivation. It just seemed like not a whole lot of thought was put into that part of it either. So
Seemed incredibly
yeah,
rushed.
yeah, and it felt like this. It felt like a screenplay that probably should have had a few more drafts to kind of like help with the pacing and with the killer and the motivation. It just kind of seemed slapped together. It's like, I got an idea. How about a Valentine's romantic comedy with the slasher? And I love slashers. Like it's nothing demeaning about that. One of my favorite slashers is The Burning. I liked Thanksgiving enough. The original My Bloody Valentine. The original My Bloody Valentine. I love the original. I like the remake, but I love the original. I thought
I saw the remake of that in 3D in the theater on opening night, and as bad as that movie really is, it was so good in the theater in 3D. It was so much fun.
Yeah, it's fun. And that's what I was looking for this. It just the pacing and stuff, and I'm just like, yeah. I'm in. Like it's got like a 90% on Rotten Tomatoes. People seem to be more in Brent's camp than mine.
But what I thought was weird was they were doing a Valentine's Day promo or advertisement, and it was just coming out, and it was just Valentine's Day that day.
Yeah,
I didn't think. I was like, I'm not going to think about that. This should have been like
that doesn't make sense.
That's what you said.
Well, that's our review of Hard Eyes. Let us know what you thought of Hard Eyes down in the comments below. Make sure to hit like. It really helps the channel. Make sure to subscribe, hit that bell icon, and we'll see you later.